Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Richard Skipper Celebrates. For those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. My show is all about celebrating life, celebrating art, celebrating artists. And today I'm very excited because I have a show that is not within the realm of art, or although what Tom does is an art. So I'm thrilled, Tom, that you're here to talk about your work. I thank you for being here. And
Thank
I
you.
begin every show by asking my guest, who or what have you celebrated today?
I celebrate life every day. I've got a great wife, Nita, and I'm in love with her. She, if you will, is the pole star of my life. I'm happy that I'm alive. I'm happy that I've got a great wife.
Well, God bless you, and I'm thrilled for that. I want to begin by talking about the trajectory that led you to the work that you're currently doing.
I'm working with energy from the sun and the stars. Some people call that Tesa energy. I'm in my laboratory for that reason. I want to show the instruments. So, if you will, I'm a theorist. I'm an inventor. And I'm working with plasma energy, Tesa energy, what I call scalar light.
Mhm.
Why did I get into this? I see the prospect for great change, for great, if you will, progress by way of this technology. Tesla was the first man, Nikola Tesla was the first man to harness this energy. Why do I want to do that? It's free energy. It's free, clean energy from the sun and the stars. Imagine what would happen if the world would embrace free, clean energy.
Well, that's a very interesting question. I want to ask you, why do you think it is that the world is not tapping into this energy?
The world wants to, but there's suppression. Nikola Tesla developed instruments. He demonstrated free energy instruments. Sadly, his work was, if you will, undermined. Today, we have a resurgence. We have a renaissance of that technology. I believe I'm at the forefront with other researchers. And we're going to make headway. And the entire world will someday resonate with this energy. They'll see the benefits of free, clean energy. The key to this, my friend, is to liberate humanity.
Mhm.
That's what free energy will do. It will liberate mankind so we don't have to spend money and have this onerous responsibility of drilling for oil or digging for coal. We won't have this responsibility of polluting our atmosphere with smoke. There's no carbon footprint to this. It's not radioactive. There's no danger to it. So this will liberate this type of energy, and its application will liberate mankind.
Tom, I mostly interview people in the entertainment industry. And in the entertainment industry, there always is this pivotal moment that where a person's mind is made up that this is definitely the path that they're going to be on. And I want to ask you, what was that moment for you when you said, this is exactly where I need to be, and this is the path that I want to be on?
Yeah, that pivotal moment was when I was an adolescent. And I looked at Tesla's inventions and I said to myself, this man, Tesla, wanted to change the course of history, and he would have to a much more significant extent had he been allowed free reign of this free energy. I can't tell you how important the work of Tesla was, that seminal underpinning that allowed me to study and to flourish with this plasma physics, this new branch of physics. As a youngster, that was my pivotal moment. I saw what Nikola Tesla had achieved. I've duplicated his instruments to some extent. We're now ready to introduce free energy to the world.
It's amazing. I mean, as I've been reading on the work that you're doing, but I want to talk about the various aspects of the work that you do. And I want to begin, as you see on the scroll here, you are a quantum healer. Can you explain to everyone who's watching what that means
Sure.
and how the work that you do impacts other people?
I don't work in the physical plane. I work with energy fields. And this is the distinction. This is not Western medicine. This is not Newtonian physics. This is a new branch of physics. Tesla was the first man to discover radiant energy or scalar energy. So we work with the aura or the energy field. Now, why is that important? Energy is fundamental, and energy eventually decides the course of our metabolism, of our chemical structure, of our physical makeup, of our mental state.
Mm-hmm.
I work at the plasma state, at the state of intelligence, which dictates the physical realm or dictates our biochemical processes. So I prefer to work at the quantum realm, the realm of intelligence. Why? It's fundamental. Why? Furthermore, it controls soul, mind, and body. The quantum realm is the realm of intelligence, the realm of plasma that dictates nature. I want to be in the driver's seat. These instruments allow me to control nature. I'm not subject to nature, I control nature.
Wow. Wow. When you mention a word like aura, I'm a very spiritual person myself. And I do believe everything that you're saying, that we are all connected and there is this connection between us and the stars and everything around us. But when you use a word like aura, a lot of people go, woo woo, that's not for me. Can you explain to people who may think in those terms what an aura is and how that when somebody walks into a room, do you personally immediately see their aura?
I don't see the aura, but I can feel it. And once I interact with that person, I can judge their aura. And I can usually pick up if they have good intent or malevolent intent. So what's the point? Some people call that magnetism or charisma. Others can actually see an energy field or a halo around a person.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just say, I have a gut feeling I like that person, or I have a gut feeling I don't trust that person. All of that is true and accurate. Why? Your aura, your force field carries an energy about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you project the person that you are. Now, this has been proven even by Kirlian photography. You could take a photograph of a person by Kirlian photography, and you could see their 7 chakras.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can see their brain waves. So that aura, the chakras, the brain waves are very real. Yes, they're invisible, but by certain types of photography, Kirlian photography, you can indeed photograph that. Okay, so the long and short of it is, why not start with the level of intelligence, plasma, non-physical intelligence that dictates eventually the physical realm? That's the key to my work. Am I a quantum healer? Yes, through the quantum realm, through the non-physical plasma realm. I do that, I achieve that by instruments that access the non-physical paradigm. My work is fascinating because I don't work with people, I work with their energy fields. There's a big difference.
Yes, it's great. It's absolutely great. You mentioned your wonderful wife.
Yes,
You've been together how long?
I've been married 8 years now.
Wow, good for you. And here's to the next 80.
Thank you.
So, when is your wife also a follower of this? I mean, and was she a part of that world before the two of you came together? Because I do believe that there's a magnetic field that brought the two of you together.
Yeah. By trade, my wife is a nurse.
Okay.
So what she is seen, if you will, by way of Western medicine, now she's open to by way of quantum healing, which is the non-physical realm, which only makes sense. You have the visible physical world, and then you have the invisible non-physical world. Well, these instruments allow me to access the invisible non-physical world of intelligence. Now, to make this very simple and straightforward to your audience, intelligence is invisible, but it's there. These are instruments that control consciousness or intelligence. Is this real? Yes. Is my work real? Yes. I simply access non-physical intelligence. That's the key to my work. That's the key to these instruments.
Well, let's talk about the instruments. I mean, tell us about these instruments and how they've come to be and how you use them in terms of the work that you do.
Yeah. The original inventor's name is Dr. Galen Hieronymus. I worked with his family. I never worked with him. Now, if scalar energy is the energy of the sun and the stars, then it's primal energy. It's the fundamental energy of the universe. So if we receive light from a star, this miniature star should be able to illuminate a light bulb.
Wow.
So I'm achieving illumination through these instruments. Meaning what? It's broadcasting their intelligence. It's broadcasting their light. So the key to my work is free energy. These are free energy instruments. The amount of light going into that light bulb will now be downloaded into my psyche, into my plasma field. Now, to explain to your audience, when I work with this instrument, I work in the plasma field. Everything is non-physical. When I work with people, I work through their plasma field on a photograph. This is my photograph with energy, with consciousness. Non-physical intelligence is attached to that photograph.
Mm-hmm.
If I place my photograph inside the instrument, it's illuminated. My aura is illuminated.
Wow.
So the identical energy going into this light bulb is the identical energy that goes into my brain waves or my psyche or my 7 chakras. I feel that energy as I'm working with myself. I feel a tingling in my brain. So we see that this energy can be transferred by way of a person's plasma field, their force field on a photograph. That's how I work with people. This is the new science in which we don't work with flesh and blood. We work with their aura or their energy field.
Well, let's go back again. I'm so fascinated by this and the work that you're doing. Your wife, was she aware of any of this before she met you? And if so, as a nurse, has the work that you do and the knowledge
Yeah.
that she now has being with you, how does that
Yeah.
impact her work?
Yeah. My wife was unfamiliar with the work of Tesa. I've had an 8-year crash course, study course with her. She's a believer. She sees that it works.
I
And
love it.
what's important, it's a book with if you will, 2 ends. And you have to book match it. In other words, I have nothing against Western medicine as long as it's used properly. Quantum energy, quantum healing is also another avenue for healing. You put both together, it's the full package. Now, I wish Western science would embrace this non-physical healing of the aura. There's something more than tendons and ligaments and organs and blood type. There is an energy field that dictates that. So my point is this. If I can be successful, introduce this new branch of physics, I don't want to discount what we've learned already. Let's embrace that. I simply want to add another tool to the shed.
Well, how have you brought all the
That's it.
knowledge that you've learned about this into your day-to-day living?
Yeah. Into my day-to-day living, I live, eat, and breathe this technology, quantum research, scalar energy research. I see the gigantic prospect. Now, keep in mind, if I can deliver energy to a force field by way of a photograph, earlier today in my laboratory, I was working with 500,000 photographs. I have people from around the world that send us their photograph. So this, if you will, construes this, if you will, leads us to a global healing mission. I'm busy 24 hours a day. I have people from around the world sending me their photograph for non-physical energetic healing of their aura.
I love
Now,
this. Wow.
thank you. This is quite exciting. We're not bound by space and time. If a photograph can transcend time and space, it can. Then I can work with 1 million photographs. Like this instrument could work with 5 million photographs a day. So instead of just balancing my chakras on a daily basis, I can balance the chakras of 5 million people a day.
Wow. Wow. This may seem like an odd question to ask you, but do you feel that you define your work, or do you find that your work defines you?
Both. I guess it's an equation, but you're right. This is my life. I define my life, and this technology, it's God's technology, defines me. To be clear with your audience, we're working in the spirit realm. I keep saying non-physical, plasma. What do I really mean? It's from God. It's non-physical divine presence. Regardless of your philosophical leanings, your religious leading, your background, I believe this is the energy. It's a first principle. It's from God. And as such, it's pure, divine, non-physical intelligence. That's why my work is so important. We're going back to the cause of nature. I don't work with the effect. I work with the higher order, the cause, the first cause.
Well, coming from your background, and I know that, I mean, you I know that you're Roman Catholic. I'm assuming that you were raised in the Roman Catholic Church.
That's right. Yeah.
So, as a kid growing up in that world, and as I mentioned earlier, I also am a very spiritual person. Um, when did you start to really feel or acknowledge spirit within your own life?
Yeah. At a young age. And why? Because on my journey, I said to myself, there has to look at the universe, there has to be a cause. And why is the universe orderly? And why is there certain geometric forms? And why is it that the galaxies coexist? How does this all happen? There has to be some type of divine orchestration, some type of divine intelligence. So I never discounted God. And when you can work hand in hand with these divine principles, they are divine principles, I think you better understand the universe. I've
Mhm.
come to a firmer understanding of the universe through scalar energy, scalar light. And I have to say that this energy pervades everything. I believe scalar light is omnipresent, meaning it probably comes from an omnipresent God. Do you follow my consecution?
Yeah, I
So,
absolutely do. But
so we're, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
So, working with this omnipresence, it only bolsters my belief that there has to be an omnipresent God. What
Mhm.
gives power to the sun and the stars? There's billions upon billions of galaxies. Okay. What gives the energy to those stars? It has to be God. What powers those stars? What gives order instruction to the innumerable galaxies? My goodness, we've never run out of galaxies. It has to be some divine force.
How has all this impacted your life in terms of how you interact with your friends, your family? We live in a world right now that is really chaotic. You and I both know that.
That's right.
And yet, and I begin every day. There's a great book called The Artist Way, and I begin every day with my morning pages, and I meditate every day before I start out, and it grounds me as I go through life. But a lot of people go through life without that kind of groundness. How do you maintain what you do in this chaotic world that we're living in right now?
That's a great question. By focusing, I don't focus on the negative. And if there's anything you can take away from this conversation, people, keep your life simple, have a few goals, concentrate on the truth. I realize this is a chaotic world. Don't get yourself involved in that chaos.
Hmm.
Stay away from that chaos. Do the best you can and live in the truth. Every day I'll have a few goals in mind. What is a goal? It's a positive affirmation. I
Hmm.
work alone in my laboratory. Well, I'm blessed to do that so I can concentrate. There's no office politics with me. And I help people on a daily basis. That's quite rewarding. Now, if we could do that for 8 billion people, my friend, we would have paradise on earth. That's
Yes.
what I aspire to. I keep telling people stop fighting, stop being negative, avoid that nonsense. If your office place is too political, try and put it to the side. If you have a problem in your family, try and rectify that problem. But live in the light, be positive, and show that you had a productive day. That's the key.
I love the one word that you just used, and that's focus. And I don't know whether you watch the news or not watch the news, but I find that all the news, regardless of what your political affiliation is all projection. We don't hear the news as it's happening right now. We're hearing about what might happen, what is ahead. And again, I think that if you're doing that, you're really not focused in the here and now of where we are right now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And we can look at even social media. Social media is good for communication, but if it puts you in a state of fear or you become obsessed with the internet or social media, that takes you away from reality.
Hmm.
Live your life, live in the present moment. Don't live vicariously through social media. I live my life. I don't live vicariously through social media. I'm in my laboratory 5, 6 hours a day. This is my focus. It's reality. So, not to preach, but be
Well,
happy.
believe it or not, when I go out now, I remember a time. I don't know how old you are, but I'm 63, and I remember a time where if you wanted to get in touch with someone, you picked up the phone, you called them, and either they were home or they weren't home, even the days before we had answering machines. So when I go out, I don't even take my phone with me anymore.
Yeah, good for you.
If
Good for you.
anyone wants to get in touch with me, they, reach me
Thank,
later.
thank you. I went out to dinner last night with my wife, and I didn't take my cell phone. Why?
Mhm.
I wanted to have a conversation with my wife. I don't want to be interrupted by a cell phone call or email. So we have to put boundaries on all of this. Going back to my point, to focus and to be happy and to have that, if you will, that emphasis, whatever's going to help you and your family, do it. Again, the media has not been our friend in the past few decades. The media, social media, it's not really projecting the truth or the truth that we want to see. It's really an agenda that's being put forth. So go back to truth, pray, meditate, keep your life simple, have a few goals every day. I think you'll be much happier. I'm much happier. I don't spend any time watching TV. I'll speak for myself. I don't need it.
Good for you. Well, everything is going for you right now. Eh, crazy question. When was the last time that you were ill?
I don't know. I'm kind of blown. I'm stumped. I'm 64 years of age. I'm never sick.
Mhm.
I might have a scratchy throat here or there. I can't remember the last time I was in a hospital. Probably 20 years ago for an operation.
Well,
I'm
I asked this
very
question
healthy.
because I know that you also you live this holistic lifestyle. Um, Talk a little bit about that in terms of the work that you do in terms of a holistic wellness.
Okay. Let's use this analogy. Many people are scrupulous about their car, their motorcycle, and any type of motorized vehicle, and they put in quality gasoline, okay, or they use quality oil, and they have maintenance for their vehicles. That's great. Now, I wish some people would be as scrupulous as their body and their mind as they are with their car. You have to eat healthful foods. Avoid junk food. Try and limit your intake of chemical food. Is It's unnatural.
Hmm.
Try to exercise, try to be positive, try to pray. If you live that holistic lifestyle, it will pay big dividends. I'm 64 years of age. I'm not on one medication whatsoever. My blood pressure is 120 over 80. I'm healthy. I'm happy. I have no medical conditions. And I've trained myself, and I also treat myself with Scalar, to be happy and healthy at age 64 without the need of one pharmaceutical product. It's doable, it's tenable. Start yourself on that path today.
And where did you grow up, Tom?
I'm a native New Yorker. I grew up in New Rochelle, New York. I
Okay,
had
well,
great
I used to New
parents.
York. So.
I had an idyllic childhood, and that started me off on the right path.
Now you live in Florida now, am I right?
Yes, I do. I like warm weather. Yes.
Okay, great. Well, it's gorgeous day here in New York today.
Yeah.
Uh, and New Rochelle is just across the river from where I live.
Uh-huh.
And I asked this question because, I grew up on a farm in South Carolina. And when I was growing up, 90% of our food was what we grew on the farm throughout the year. And there's nothing like fresh food from the garden. Um, and of course, as you mentioned, everything is now filled with chemicals and everything else. How do you find, in terms of your shopping and what you want to do in terms of finding the right foods for those people who want to get on this path?
Fortunately, in Florida, the weather's nice year round. You can find farmers markets.
Hmm.
It's easy. Most stores today have an organic department. When I shop, I avoid the chemicals. I buy healthful foods, natural foods. That's the key. And it's not difficult to do. So you have to stay away from processed foods. When I went out to dinner last night, I had fish.
Hmm.
Now, what's the point? I follow the rules of nature. I want to eat what is of nature. I want to eat what I consider to be divine food, natural food. It has served me well. At age 64, I don't have aches and cramps.
Hmm. It's funny. I was just in South Carolina. Unfortunately, my mother passed away last week, and so many of my cousins who are younger than I am are having hip replacement surgery, knee replacement surgery, and I just couldn't believe um, how prevalent that is. Even getting on the airplane to come back, um, I was amazed at how many people were being rolled onto the plane in wheelchairs. So God bless you for making this so much a part of your life. Um, Describe pathogen busting superpower and what you mean by this.
Okay. Everything I do is there's no human interpretation because I'm working with intelligence. So it's not my human input. I'm going to explain. If I take a photograph of the influenza virus and I match it up to my photograph, the two energy fields, the two quantum fields communicate. I place those two photographs inside the instrument. The instrument is going to look for, the energy is going to look for influenza A virus in my quantum field. If I have that intelligence of influenza A, it's going to eradicate it, remove it, bring it to a state of chaos or anti-intelligence. So working with the quantum field, which is only intelligent, non-physical instructions, I can look for the instructions, the intelligence of influenza A in my quantum field and eliminate it. If I can eliminate the intelligence, this, if you will, the instructions behind this microbe, it ceases to exist. So I don't attack a virus by way of a chemical or surgery. I attack the virus through intelligence. I negate the intelligence of the influenza virus. It always works. At the end of the day, I don't have influenza virus. I attack, I eliminate, I eradicate that signal. I eradicate the signature of influenza.
Amazing. When did you, I mean, how did you discover this aspect?
Yeah, that's when back in the 90s when I was working an apprenticeship under this family, the Hieronymus family. And my predecessor was able to do that with farm animals. Well, I developed that and I perfected that with people. I'm going to show one of the results here. After I worked with one woman, this gal had herpes for years. She had a follow-up PCR test, and the PCR test is not detectable. No detectable viral load for herpes. We have hundreds of reports like this from people around the world. So the testimonies are now coming in, and people are proclaiming, it's not my testimony, that they no longer have a viral load for herpes or some other type of pathogen. Well, wonderful. What does that mean? Probably that we've negated the intelligence of the herpes virus.
But Tom, when someone comes to you and they want and they're looking to be healed of something such as herpes, you have the knowledge with the work that you do. How
Yes.
much is needed from the, for lack of a better word, patient that comes to you,
Yes.
um, in
Yes.
terms of the work that they need to do to get on the same
Yes.
wavelength that you're on?
They they only need to pray. I'm going to just suggest they pray and have a good mental attitude. They don't need to follow any regimen, any health regimen. They don't need to change their diet because scalar energies is the life force energy of the universe. You can find it everywhere. So in other words, we're all being, if you will, in this sea of scalar energy. We all live in this energy domain, this energy matrix. It's natural. It's simple. We are living in a sea of energy of scalar light right now. So when people send me their photograph, I tell them, just be positive.
Mm.
Okay? This is not a unique experience. We're all flooded. We all are suffused with the energy of the stars. It's natural.
Well, that takes us back to the word that you used again earlier, focus. Uh, my guess is that when someone comes to you, that they are coming to you, I am assuming, but although that's not always a good idea, with a deep faith that they are going to be healed or that they are
Yes.
going to get on the right path.
Yes.
Um, do you ever have, again, I know that you focus on the positive, but do you ever get skeptics that come to you? And if so, what's the process like then?
Mm. I treat everybody the same through their force field, through their energy field. There are skeptics. And after a month or two, many of those people who are skeptics say, well, something happened and I feel better, even though they can't put their finger on it. So the key to my work is results. I could talk all day long. I want people to experience the results. And most people, after they experience our program, they feel better. The greater majority feel better. Now, that is telling, that is proof positive that something happened in the quantum realm, in the realm of intelligence.
Well, let's talk about mind and spirit enhancement, the work that you do, bringing all this together.
Yep. Let's look at the mind. What is the mind? What are the thought? What's our creativity? Those are all scalar light emanations. If you've ever thought of how we can compute, learn a language, memorize, creativity, all of that is some type of download, some type of a flatus. It's my consideration that all cognition is scalar light. It's a manifestation of scalar light. Why? Scalar light is everywhere. It can traverse the universe in a flash. A thought can traverse the universe in a flash, so to speak.
Excuse me for interrupting. I just want to ask you this. Has the phrase scalar light, has that always been there, or is this something in terms of giving it a name that's come up in recent years?
It's a neologism. It's new. It's new. The term scalar light, scalar energy, it's coming into vogue right now. So it's a new science, a new branch of physics with a new vocabulary. That's a good point. Thank you. So going back to my thought, once again, pun intended, a thought transcends time and space. Well, what gives a thought its actually meaning? What is the animating force behind a thought or creativity? It has to be some type of energy. It's scalar energy. So if you can think and that thought transcends time and space, it does, then there has to be a paradigm, there has to be a model to support that thought that transcends time and space. It's scalar light, it's scalar energy. So this is how important my work is. It defines thinking. It defines emotions. It defines the consciousness of the universe. There has to be a model that supports scalar energy. The model is the infinite universe.
How did the work that you do begin to get out there, if you will, among other people so that people are familiar with the work that you're doing? I know you do a lot of remote healing. How did it begin? How did that begin for you? And how, I know that I'm going to guess that most people find you. You've got a YouTube channel, you've got a Facebook channel in terms of social media for good. But how did people begin to find you for their remote healing?
Back in the 90s, when I started this, we did not have the internet. The internet was still in its infancy. So by word of mouth, and I started working with family and friends. And lo and behold, simply by working with family and friends by way of their photograph, people felt better. They experienced an improvement in their physical health, their, if you will, psychological health. So I knew I was onto something. Well, I decided to become public with my work 13 years ago with a website. And because of good people like you, Richard, who allow me to speak to your audience, we can get the word out. It's all done by word of mouth or by podcast. Now, to be clear, let's just say big media is not my friend. Big media does not want me to promulgate this new science. This new science is a threat to the establishment.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because we hear a lot that when it comes to cancer research, all these other areas, that the pharmaceutical companies and everyone prefer that you are purchasing their product. That's the bottom line. And so a lot of people, and I can understand why there would be obstacles in your path from major media, but you obviously are doing very well in terms, you mentioned the number of photographs that you've looked at today alone, that people are finding you.
You're right. You're right. We're growing. Why? It works. Now, over the years, I've collected over 500,000 photographs. That's a lot of photographs, people. Some of them are group photographs from Africa and India. But the point is, we are growing. Why are we growing? It works. People feel better. If there was no merit to this, then why would somebody bother and send me their photograph? Mm-hmm. So there is credence to what I'm saying. Why am I so adamant? Energy is fundamental. These are energy instruments that control that subtle essence, scalar energy, the intelligence of the universe. These instruments improve the health of our soul, mind, and body. Bottom line, it works. Yes, we are growing. Thank you for pointing that out.
Mm-hmm. So as far as the chakra work that you do, how did that begin for you? And I know a lot of people, I can only speak for myself. I first started hearing about chakras because of the work that Shirley MacLaine was doing in terms of delving into her own spirituality and, in her case, past lives. So that was when I first became aware of chakra energy. But in terms of the work that you do, and obviously all of this is interrelated, when and how did that work begin for you?
Yeah. When I first started working with Scalar Energy, I was working with family and friends. And one of the first things people notice is that their dream state enhanced, or that they were happier, or that their biorhythms, for some reason, their metabolism was corrected, or they were able to lose weight. Now, all of that is outside of my ability. I am not a medical professional, but for some reason, I was starting to have an advantageous impact upon their sleep pattern, their weight control, their mood, etc. Well, that's the inbuilt intelligence of scalar energy. So there are chakras, and this instrument can access a chakra. Now, to be clear, what's a chakra? It's a spinning vortex. I'm going to show the audience a photograph of scalar energy. That's a time-lapse photograph of the double helix. It's a spinning vortex. And everybody has those 7 vortices. Mm-hmm. Everybody has 7 vortices of chakras. So there is credence to this. Scalar energy is a double helix. Our chakras are spinning vortices. And the way you access a chakra, which is composed of scalar light, is with a scalar light instrument. And this is why people start sleeping quite well under my, if you will, tutelage, under my influence through an instrument. Scalar energy will access the 7 chakras.
Well, I want to talk about your website because, talk about information that's out there. It's jam-packed full of information. Did you create this website yourself, or do you have other people in this field that are working with you? And again, if someone is interested in your services, if you will, how does someone get in touch with you?
Yeah. The website is, I've written all the articles because it's unique to my, if you will, discipline. Sadly, scalar energy is still a nascent science, so I'm the author of those articles. I do work with a brilliant staff member, a number of people, and they help me. That's a team effort, the entire website. Now, on our website, we offer anybody in the world, and this stands for this audience, 15 days of free session. Anybody in the world can go to our website, scalarlight.com. You will email us your photograph. For 15 days, you can include your family members too. You can include a group photograph, include your pets. We will balance your chakras. We will eradicate nutrients. And we also have another program in which we can take photographs of vitamins and download the energy of vitamins into your quantum field. Your energy field and the energy field of your family. So for 15 days, we balance your chakras, we eliminate microbes, and we deliver micronutrients. After 15 days, the greater majority of people say they feel much better, much better. It works. Let me prove to you it works. There's no obligation. Go to our website. It's free.
I think I already know the answer to this next question, but in your life, is there any such thing as a typical day?
No. Very good. No, because thank you. It's always cutting edge. Yes, last night I started experimenting with a new approach to scalar energy. Mm-hmm. And if it works, then that will, if you will, open the door to 20 other experiments that I'm going to try. This is a new science. I will compare myself to those early practitioners of whether it's aeronautics or computer science or chemistry. It's a new science. It's filled with opportunity. This is my playground every day.
Mhm.
I'm in delight in my playground on a daily basis.
Well, with all the hats that you wear, is there one particular hat that you feel that you wear more comfortably than others? Or are they all interrelated? And I ask this question because with all the work that you're doing in your studio, your office, your playground, uh, how do you balance the work that you're doing here with the healing work that you're doing for so many others?
Mm, great questions. My work, first and foremost, I want to go about my work in a morally correct fashion. When great technology is matched with great morality, you'll have great results. Now, working with these high-powered instruments, I have to be responsible. And I've developed a protocol in which I only work with the aura, which is non-physical, so that I'm assured of no negative consequence. Okay? That's very important to me. You cannot have a negative consequence with intelligence, with consciousness. The hats that I wear, first and foremost, I'm a humanitarian, I'm a Christian. So I have to have a moral compass about my work. And I think sadly
Would you
today,
repeat that,
technology.
please? Would you repeat that? I love that because that is the one thing that I say with everyone.
Yeah,
Operate with a moral compass.
yeah. I'm a humanitarian. I'm a Christian. Approaching this groundbreaking work, you have to have a moral compass. Okay,
Mhm.
I have to have parameters, guidelines to manage my work. Now, with this incredible sway of power, I have incredible power with these instruments. I have to be grounded, and I have to always look at a person's benefit. How do I benefit people?
Mhm.
There's been some talk about weaponizing certain types of energy instruments. I want nothing to do with that. So I go about this with a moral compass, and I like to work according to those tenets. You have to be morally correct.
I love that. One of the things that I like to do as we wrap up in the last 15 minutes of our show today is, and I'm going to try to make these questions specific to the work that you do. But I've got some random questions based on my own spirituality, based on my own creativity, and that's what my audiences are familiar with my show. But one of the things that I do with my shows is that I have three mystery cards laid out. So I don't even know what the questions are. So pick a
Right.
number one through three and then we're gonna go through these questions in terms of the work that you're doing.
Okay, we'll go with question number two.
And the card is um, very interesting questions, and I think I already know the answer to this. Have you had your 15 minutes of fame yet?
Yes, I have, and the world is embraced my work. But now I want the world to have their fame. Now I want the world to experience this. This gift has to be given away. God gave me this gift. Now I have to give it away to the world. I want the world to benefit.
On your path to this, I mean, even with your spirituality and everything else, you're human. Uh, have there been any bumps in the road in terms of the work that you do? And if so, what got you through those bumps? And I know it's your faith that will always keep us going. Uh,
Yeah,
what gets you through those bumps when and if they do appear?
there are many bumps in the road. There's many challenges. And I don't consider them setbacks. I consider them learning opportunities. And it's really the way you look at it. You could be defeated by a problem, or you could say, well, we'll avoid that problem, or we'll find a way to solve that problem. But when I make a mistake, I'm one step closer to getting it. How's that?
Mhm.
A mistake, a problem, allows me to eliminate that mistake and problem. I'm one step closer to achieving my end. So I try and always put a positive spin on it. Yeah, I've got my good days and bad days, but I never stop. I just have the drive to keep at it.
I can tell that. I think of them as life lessons. I like to refer to them instead of mistakes. Um, i- do you consider this I know it's your life's work. It oozes through every pore in your body. But do you think of this as a career, or how do you put
It's a
this in
call.
terms of the work that you do?
It's a calling for me. By the way, prior to my going public with this, I had to work jobs. I had to support myself.
Hmm.
So you have to be very realistic when you start off with this groundbreaking research. If nobody's funding you, nobody funds me, then your paycheck is from the sweat of your brow. And that's what it's been for 40 years of my life. Only recently have I been able to support myself with my work. So what's the point? You have to have the passion for this. It can't be a job. It has to be passion.
When did your leap of faith happen for you? When you went from the other jobs that you had to support yourself to the work that you're doing now?
Well, I finally had the necessary intelligence, the background that I needed. It took me 20, 30 years to understand the theory behind this. And finally, when God was ready and I had the proper academic training, if you will, hands on to experience, then and only then did I step forward. First came theory, first came education, then came practice. 30 years was my understudy. It's a long understudy.
This is a two-part question I want to ask, and I know that you are a very positive, spiritual person. But is there any aspect of the work that you're doing that upsets you? And then the other part of that question is what makes you the happiest
Mhm.
about the work that you're doing?
What I would say upset. What disturbs me is that this energy is made for everybody. It's the energy from the sun and the stars, and it's so poorly understood. If the world would embrace this, we would solve so many problems. Imagine, Richard, free energy from the sun and the stars. It would solve so many problems today. And I don't know why a greater number of researchers, scalar light researchers, haven't taken this up. So that's the emotional sadness that I have.
Well,
As
you've learned everything that you've learned through your own work and everything. I mean, is this something that can be taught to other people who want to do the same work that you're doing? And if so, what would be the path for those people?
you're right, I want to teach other people. And is it possible? Yes. If I can learn it, anybody can learn it. But you have to have the passion. And how many people are willing to work without a paycheck to learn this new and emerging science? There is no industry.
Mhm.
There is no paycheck. There is no job openings for scalar light researchers. I can guarantee you. So my work is pivotal. My work is groundbreaking. I hope that this will be a household word in the next 5 to 10 years. If so, we can build an industry and we can pay people to research. Right now, very few people want to do it on their own without a paycheck.
And I know from the profession that I'm in, and my partner is in a different profession, but you and your wife come together at the end of the day. Um, how do you walk away? I know this is all a part of you always, but hopefully this question will make sense in terms of this is the work that I've done today. Now is the time for me to be focused solely on my wife and to move on. Do you have like a 9 to 5 routine, or are you 24/7? Where do you draw the line?
You have to draw the line because
Right.
it can be all consuming. My wife and I always have dinner together every night. Um, we'll have 2 or 3 date nights a week. Sunday, we don't work at all. I just returned from a vacation. I try and live a normal, balanced life, and I'll tell you why. At the end of the day, it clears your mind, and you'll have greater creativity if you relax. You cannot work all the time. You will stifle your creativity if you're working like a robot. So be normal, take a vacation, get a sauna, go for a jog. Don't work around the clock. It doesn't work that way.
What does normal mean to you?
Uh, as far as, well, see, I still work 55 hours a week, and I don't mind that because I can work a 10-hour day.
Mhm.
It's not a big deal to me. But you still have to take time off for family and friends. We had I went out to dinner with my wife and her son last night. It was a great experience. We took a vacation 2 weeks ago with our kids. So that is living a normal life, living a life away from the laboratory, having a social life, having a life with God, having this experience, this, if you will, interpersonal experience with other people. That's important.
I agree with you, and I love, you make these choices that on Sundays I'm not doing this at all, and you have a balanced life. Um, and so obviously, I mean, your friends, your associates, the people that you intermingle with on a daily basis, they're all are they all in tune with the work that you do?
Most people are, because they see my sincerity and they realize that this is grounded in science.
Hmm.
These are scientific instruments. This is not my opinion. I follow the laws of science. And then if you read our 2,000 testimonies on the website, according to 2,000 people, they have great results, or they had favorable results. That's the key. The proof is in the pudding. Science applied can help our quantum health.
I asked you earlier if you define the work that you're doing, or if you find that the work that you're doing defines you. What is the biggest impact that all of this has had on the work that you personally are doing, and then on your life in general?
Yeah. The impact that I've seen, it gives me, if you will, currency to my life. It provides me this meaningful lifestyle that's saying I made a successful impact upon people's lives. I'm all about service. I'm all about helping humanity. At the end of the day, if you're a true scientist, you're a true humanitarian. You want to help people. Science is made to liberate people, not to enslave people.
Hmm.
And sadly, we don't see that. We especially don't see that in Silicon Valley today, where they're using technology to control people, to have some type of mandate over people. No, technology should liberate people. At the end of the day, at the end of my career, I want to say my technology helped mankind.
Well, I know that your faith drives you in everything that you do. Uh, we live in a world also where, as divided as this country is, and it is, that everybody wants you to think and believe the way that they believe.
Mm.
And I don't think that that's your case at all. But in terms of getting your message out, um, have there ever been moments where you're dealing with someone who just refuses to accept this is who and what you're all about?
Right. That happens quite frequently, and God bless them. Everybody's entitled to their opinion,
Mhm.
and you just move on. I realize this is difficult. I realize the invisible quantum realm is difficult for some people to fathom. It's very real. It's as real as a thought. And again, if you can think, that's scalar energy, then you can develop a scalar energy instrument that controls thought or intelligence. So to answer your question, everybody's entitled to their opinion. It's just not their time yet to accept that you can control information intelligence.
Mhm. Now, I asked you earlier, when was the last time that you were ill? You couldn't even remember that.
I can't.
Um, I mean, do you get stressed? And if so, how does this work help you in
No.
terms of dealing with stress for others that may be watching?
I look at stress, and stress is good because you can't be pampered, but
Mhm.
within moderation. When I'm under a stressful situation, I break down the problem and I try and solve the problem piece by piece. It's sort of like eating a pizza. You don't eat the pizza as a whole, you cut up the pizza. Well, I do that whether I'm writing an article or inventing a new technique. I take it one step at a time. I don't become overwhelmed, and I pace myself. I realize you just can't burn out on this. Sometimes I have to walk away from this laboratory and say, I'll do it tomorrow, because my mind cannot fathom all of these permutations. So I keep it simple. I define the problem, I solve the problem. I keep it very simple and straightforward. I'm very productive in doing so.
Is there a moment in your life where you ask a specific question of one of your mentors that propelled you forward in terms of the work that you do?
Yeah. I had the great fortune of working under the Hieronymus family, one of the few families that ever perfected scalar energy instruments. They taught me the ropes. They taught me the ground rules of scalar energy. And I go back to that training that I received, that seminal training, if you will. And to this day, I recall what I was taught. And I recall from the masters, from their experience, now I'm living through them vicariously. Mm-hmm. Well, we all stand on the shoulders of giants. Tesa and Hieronymus were those two great giants of science. I go back to their work. I've learned from them. I perpetuate their legacy.
With the work that you're doing, what was the last aha moment that you had?
Okay, recently, this is being recorded in March of 2024. I've come out with a new program. I call it Corrective Intelligence, Divine Corrective Intelligence. Now, I've received these messages throughout my life from Jesus Christ and the Blessed Mother, and I hope that this new approach of divine corrective intelligence will be meaningful and impactful. I'll let you know within the next year. I have to experiment with this new divine corrective intelligence.
Will you come back when that's ready?
Yes, and first let me experiment and prove it by way of testimonies. Now, I'm all about proof, people. I could talk to I'm blue in the face. At the end of the day, people have to experience the benefits. Let's give it 1 year. Bring me back next year, and we'll see if it worked.
This is my last question today. I'd like you to name 3 things that you're grateful for in the work that you do.
I'm grateful for God for my life. I'm grateful for my wife, Nita, and I'm grateful that I have family and friends.
Great. Hopefully you'll add me to that list of friends.
Yes.
Yes.
You are.
I'm going to give my closing statement, and then I'm going to leave the screen, and you've got the final word today. Okay. It could be about anything that we spoke about that you want to build upon, anything that we didn't talk about that you wish we had, or just any final message that you want to leave our audience with today. Okay. And when you say goodbye, I will end the show so you don't have to worry about how to end this. Okay. But my message is the same message that I give at the end of every show that I do. Go out and do something nice today for somebody else without expecting anything in return. Another thing that I say at the end of every one of my shows is to pick up the phone and call someone that you haven't spoken to in a while. Go to your Facebook friends list, and the third name that pops up, reach out with a phone call. I'd like you to do the same thing, Tom. Don't, not an email, not a text message, not a private inbox message, a phone call. Yeah. As I said earlier, my mom passed away last Monday, and it was sudden. It came unexpected. And we spoke that afternoon. And I will always be forever grateful for that. You never know when we're going to be called, and make sure that you pick up the phone. I have a dear friend, Sean Moniger, and he says we're all in the same storm, but we're in different sized boats. And I always say, I don't care what size boat you're on, as long as you have a skipper by your side. And with that, I'm going to leave the screen, Tom, and it's all yours. Okay. Thank you for being here today. Thank you.
I want to emphasize that our human calling, this calling that we have, we really should unite. Humanity should unite. I mean, just look at what happens when you have a coordinated team, whether it's an athletic team, a corporation, whether your family's coordinated, whether you have some type of coordination with investment. So united we stand. And I know that might sound a little bit trite, but I would hope that mankind would unite and stop fighting. We are able to accomplish so much. 8 billion people can accomplish so much by uniting. So please think about this and try and unite. If you have a problem, avoid that problem, whether it's a person or a corporation or some unpleasant event. Unite. Let's work together. This world will change for the better. It is when we unite and we stop fighting. God bless everybody.